Well, A Look in the Past, Part 2. So, what game are we looking at today? Well, we're of course looking at Resident Evil 1, the Director's Cut. So, this game has been on my radar for quite a few times, actually. And, I recently completed the DS remake. So let's take a look at what is such a wonderful game. So this game came out in 1997, and it's cool because, well, that's DualShock support. The original release didn't really have this, and original releases of, the original PlayStation controls didn't have the thumbsticks, so this was something new. And, well, it's honestly quite the interesting game. I first picked this one up, I want to say, late 2024. Maybe. I don't exactly remember because the GameStop I'm at now, they've been going downhill for quite a bit, and they've rearranged several games. But I think this was pretty cool. The game was it was complete in box. So you got the disc, if I can even get the case open. But you got the disc, and you got the manual. It has a little sneak peek at Resident Evil 2, which I've actually been playing the original version of right now. And of course we get the disc. It's nothing really too special, but I think it's something pretty cool. But I think it's actually something fairly pretty cool. Yeah, just a blank disc doesn't really tell you what you should be expecting from the game. And of course you got, an eye peeking out at you. And it's actually cool. It's one of those, the disc is black on the end, which I don't know exactly how many games did this or what these discs were about, but the PlayStation had blue discs on for some of them, which was actually fairly interesting. Then, of course, as some people realized, this is in fact a jewel case. Yeah, PlayStation 1 games, they had the jewel case. PlayStation 2 is the one that went DVDs. Of course, it could also be like other games, like Final Fantasy IX, where it's just, where it's just a bunch of case. Or just like Resident Evil 1, where it's just a tiny case. But that's actually something cool, and something that I hope to actually talk about someday is different game cases. But yeah, Resident Evil 1, I feel like it's a fairly special game. And of course, I guess the question is, why did I really pick this one up? What's so special about Resident Evil 1? Especially a game on the PS1. Well, I kind of would have to say, I think what's so special about this one is just the fact that it's just such an amazing game, and I think having something this old in my collection is actually pretty cool. I mean, it's a special game, and I feel like no matter really how you feel about it, having a game this legendary in a collection is actually generally really interesting. And it's also kind of cool seeing just how we went from this to, now if I can find it real quick, I will definitely do a little comparison. But yeah, it's interesting how we went from Resident Evil 1 all the way to Resident Evil 9, like something on PS5, like something 30 years after. And we're at this now, just being able to really see how it started, I think that's what really makes exploring some of these old games cool. Now, I've never completed this version of Resident 1. I did complete it on a PS3 though, with the digital version of this. So, I don't know if the original PlayStation version is different, or if there was anything taken out or not, but I don't know. I really did like the director's cut of Resident Evil. It's also greatest hits version, so I don't know if there's another version of Resident Evil 1 that is uh, that is just a director's cut version. Of course, I'd have to look that up real quick. I assume probably not. Yeah, but I don't know, considering that, I've never really seen any of these copies on their own. Actually, yeah, there is versions where it's just not the director's cut, which I will also definitely say, I feel like I kind of got lucky in regards to that, because I guess this game is a bit popular, which kind of baffles me, because Resident Evil 1 isn't exactly a game that's difficult to find. I mean, it's Resident Evil 1. The game has been ported to plenty of consoles and remade. I mean, its remaster is literally playable on every console at the moment. So, yeah, I guess it's just more popular because, this is a PS1 game, and PS1 games generally are a bit difficult to find. I will admit, I think I've seen more PS1 games with stuff, at places like level 7 games rather than just like normal GameStop, which is kind of sad because the GameStop I'm at is a retro GameStop. So, I guess, is Resident Evil 1 worth it? I personally think so. It's a fun game, and it's definitely a bit flawed and outdated with the tank controls, Resident Evil 1 is still an amazing game and does deserve it does deserve a lot of respect because it's what really gave us the Biohazard series, and it being remade in 2022 as the Resident Evil Origins collection, which, unfortunately I don't have on hand at the moment. Yeah, actually, never mind. But Resident Evil 1 being remade and ported over to our consoles, well, like the Xbox One, really just shows the longevity of this game, and it's definitely something pretty cool. And I'm not gonna deny and be like, oh, Resident Evil 1 is like super overrated, because I'm like, no, I will definitely say Resident Evil 1 is probably one of my favorite games. Both the remake and the director's cut, and of course, Deathly Silence. Even though I don't have the case for Deathly Silence, which in retrospect, I kind of wish I got the case. But of course, I guess that's the version of Resident Evil you should play, is really up to debate. Should you just go play the original, or should you play the HD remaster remake? Personally, I'd say just get the remaster. First of all, it's essentially the same game, but just with a few things added. But if you really want to play the original, now you can either get it digitally on PS4 and 5, or you could go old school like me and get yourself the director's cut and, be able to have a piece of gaming history in your collection. But that's all I really have to say for today's video. So this was fun being able to take a look at Resident Evil. I plan to do more of these videos because the one for San Andreas was really popular, and it actually surprised me because I wasn't really expecting that. And being able to see and find a new audience for these was actually pretty cool, and I really appreciate that too. And of course, I will definitely say choosing these games is generally quite an interesting thing to do regardless, because of the fact that, simply because there's also numerous games that I have completed that are retro, and my definition of retro isn't really the same as everyone else's. I feel like with games like this, I would probably just cover up until 2010, maybe. or cover up until the end of the PS3, but that can lead us into some great waters. But most of the stuff I've talked about on the Mothman effect. But of course, I do plan to take more looks at some games and potentially even review others. So until then, I thank you all for watching. Like usual, I hope you all have a wonderful day, or night, or whenever you're watching this. Stay safe, and I will see you all next time.